I always have
Hey
to
guys,
stay
Andrew
sharp, guys.
Salciunas
You know
from
that.
Kincade and Salciunas. Thank you for checking out all of our stuff on YouTube. Make sure you click, like, subscribe on everything that you see. And of course, you can see everything from our YouTube feed. Full shows, interviews, when John's being an idiot, which is like 15 times a day. So make sure you check out all of our stuff on YouTube.
As we always do to start this segment, Andrew Zaccheko, the floor is yours. Your analysis from yesterday's game.
Well, let's preface it by saying the Eagles did win the game, and you guys have done a really nice job of sort of setting the table there. But it was uneven. And offensively, of course, that's been sort of a common theme throughout the season, slow starts. But even defensively, they got off to a slow start. And you almost can kind of pardon that because they've been playing at such an exceptional level this season. But offensively, I thought that Jalen Hurts early in that game, I mean, you can look no further than early in that game when he checked it down to Jahan Dotson. I thought A.J. Brown was wide open. There were some missed reads that he had there. I thought he had happy feet, wasn't seeing the field particularly well. But on the defensive side, I thought they really struggled with Bryce Young's improvisation. And Adam Thielen gave Cooper DeJean a tough time. He had over 100 yards on 9 catches. But when the Eagles need to make a play late in that game, the defense buckled down, and it wasn't pretty. That locker room was not satisfied with that win, but they were able to, go to 11-2 and move on, and now they have the Pittsburgh Steelers coming to the link next week.
I would tell you right now, when you're looking at this team, that it would be easy for someone to say that it was like a trap game type of situation. I wondered about Dave Canales, how much he learned from being in Tampa Bay all those years. What did you see about how they were defended, and did you see any similarities?
Well, I thought Dave Canales had a tough time in terms of how he allocated his timeouts. He was down to 1 in a one-score game in the third quarter. But I did think that he found a decent job of containing Jalen Hurts defensively. It was almost like you said, he spent time with the Buccaneers, so it seemed like he had a decent read on what the Eagles were going to look to try to do. They played really physical. I thought the Panthers matched the Eagles' physicality, so you have to tip your hat to them. They didn't play like a 3-9 team coming into that game. But offensively, I just thought that they kept the Eagles' defense on their heels. They were reeling for much of that game, and it had a lot to do with Bryce Young and his ability to kind of make plays outside of structure and find the open receiver. But I thought that the big story there was defensively what they were able to do against Jalen Hurts, and sort of aside from that big run that he had, really keep him sort of flustered. They pressured him. He was sacked, I believe, 4 times. So, I mean, you have to give a lot of credit to that Panthers team, but the Eagles definitely did not play to their standard. And I think one of the interesting messages coming out of that game was Nick Sirianni expressed to his team to enjoy the win and do not be a prisoner of your expectations, which is something that I think that last season plagued the team. So I think that messaging was really important coming out of that.
What did you make of the comments from A.J. Brown after the game? And was this something that's been brewing the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think so. And, Andrew, this is something that I believe that they're going to have to get rectified, ASAP, before it becomes problematic, because you do sense that certain areas of that locker room, prevalent players on that team, whether it be offensive linemen, wide receivers, and even Jalen Hurts himself, they're not happy with the passing game. They know that it's not meeting expectations. A.J. Brown, for a player of his caliber, guys, to not get the football through 4 series, I mean, that's inexcusable. And I just think that eventually that will lead to some frustration. I think you're starting to see that boiling point. If you listen to some of they answered it as good as they could, but if you read between the lines, there definitely is some sort of frustration brewing there amongst the pass catchers, because players are open. Plays are there to be made, but for whatever reason, whether Jalen's hesitant to pull the trigger, he's becoming gun shy, and players aren't being utilized correctly in the passing game. So I think they're going to have to iron that out early before it does become something more problematic.
Are you concerned after what happened last year? Do you have any concern that we could see something like that happen again?
No, not at all. Not the way this team's wired, not the leadership that's there, not the coaching staff. They won't allow there to be a skid. They won't allow any sort of splintering, if you will, in the locker room. This is a team that's really put together well. There's a lot of chemistry there. When you see the way that they've won, they're doing it together. They're more often than not, they're playing complementary football. This is a stark contrast to the team from last season. So you don't expect to see any sort of a skid or a sign of things to come in the negative way. I think that they'll learn from this and they'll move forward. And you're going to see a different team against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
How healthy or unhealthy is this Eagles team? You were in the locker room post-game. You had some banged-up birds. Obviously, guys missed the game ahead of time. So update us on some of the injuries and who you expect to see back on Sunday against the Steelers.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson, we heard from him after the game. He spoke right away. He seemed to be fine. He said, well, we'll take a look at it on Monday. But he went back in the game, and he said, you got to kill me. I wasn't coming off the field. So I think that he, in many ways, embodied the toughness of the Eagles' defense in that game. I thought he made a really big play. That interception led to a touchdown, and he made that big hit early in the game on Xavier Leggett that really set the tone. But as far as some of the other players, maybe you'll see Sidney Brown next week. Maybe Reed Blankenship as well. Coming on, we'll have to see where he's at in terms of the protocol. Not sure about Britton Covey, but I think leaving this game, the Eagles didn't sustain any serious injuries, and they should be trending in the right direction as far as that goes.
When you look at, and I know how much you watch the rest of the league, how alarmed should Eagles fans be compared to when you would compare it to what the Chiefs have done? The Bills drop a game yesterday where they give up 44 points. When you try to look at it in comparison, where do you think Eagle fans' level of concern should be?
Well, I look no further than the Bills-Rams game and how the level of offensive play in that game was off the charts, and for the Eagles to be able to keep for the Eagles to be able to keep pace with a team like the Buffalo Bills, I mean they're going to have to tap into another level. I think that there should be some level of concern when you're comparing it to how the Bills win, to how the Detroit Lions win, and what they're able to do, and how they're able to kind of manufacture points and run a really rhythmic, healthy offense, balanced offense. But, I mean, as far as the Chiefs go, the Chiefs are very reminiscent, to me at least, of the 2023 Eagles. They keep winning games, so you have to give them credit there. But you have to wonder when the bottom's going to fall out for that, because I just don't believe that they are who their record indicates that they are.
Speaking of Andrew DeCecco on the Comcast Business Hotline, Andrew, first, your opinion on the decision to take the penalty and then punt instead of attempting the 52-yard field goal. The Andrew DeCecco opinion on that moment and the message from Nick Sirianni there. And then the follow-up is, do they address kicker this week?
Well, I agree with that call, just given what you've seen from Jake Elliott from long distance. And Braden Mann is coming off the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week, in which he played a large part in the Eagles winning that game against the Ravens. So he has a really good – he's in a rhythm, he's in that groove. And the punt coverage unit for the Eagles has been playing at a very high level. That's something that often doesn't get looked at when you're looking at a winning organization. Special teams sort of gets, thrown by the wayside. But Avonte Maddox did a really good job of downing that punt there. Keely Ringo had a nice play in coverage, but I think Braden Mann has proven that he's going to put the ball where it needs to go. You feel more comfortable with him than you would having Jake Elliott attempt a long-range field goal. Now, to the second part of your question, one game, yeah, maybe you say, hey, maybe it just wasn't his day. But now you're starting to see it happen again. So that's now a trend, guys. So I think that eventually, probably even as early as this week, the Eagles should start working out some young kickers, maybe stash one on the practice squad and develop them a little bit and tap them on the shoulder if you're not seeing what you need to see from Jake Elliott in practice. Because early in that game, even pregame warm-ups, actually, he was hooking some of those kicks. So I think a lot of that played into Nick Sirianni's decision-making, and I think it sort of adds more fuel to the discussion that we're having in terms of adding another kicker and working one out this week.
Connor brought up the financial ramifications if you did walk away from him at the end of the year, dead money. But you can't. They have to think about it. They have to think about somebody else being around.
Mm-hmm. I think they really do, John. And kicking is a weird profession because a lot of times when the drop-off happens, it's steep and it's sudden. But I think you see it with Justin Tucker, where we were seeing that unfold in real time last week, and now you're seeing it possibly with Jake Elliott. And I think the Eagles, they're such a forward-thinking organization that you think that they would have a contingency plan in place, and they may have to start a little bit sooner than they probably anticipated.
Andrew, you're the man.
Go ahead. Hey, guys, Andrew Salciunas from Kincade and Salciunas. Thank you for checking out all of our stuff on YouTube. Make sure you click, like, subscribe on everything that you see. And, of course, you can see everything from our YouTube feed, full shows, interviews, when John's being an idiot, which is like 15 times a day. So make sure you check out all of our stuff on YouTube. We appreciate it.